An extended conversation about Battleworld, but more importantly, we're going to talk about the Astral team, which is showing up on the Battleworld website. They've got a whole Battleworld like event thing right here, which looks amazing, by the way. But before we get into it, I want to talk about some events that are happening in game right now and how I'm approaching them. Stormwatch publishes this every week, and I had been saving my campaign energy. I have since then spent Night Stalker Showcase Energy and earned Twilight Orb fragments from campaign nodes for the Twilight Vigil event starting on the 7th. Now, the Twilight Vigil event, which we're going to talk about, is kind of interesting, and it's a leaderboard event, and there is a way of getting about 100,000 points, which the rewards are okay, but that has to do with getting certain teams and rating them to gear tier 19. So there's 4 teams that are part of this event: Alpha Flight, Hive Mind, Extreme, and Spider Society. And I'm going to show some things that I did on a Twitch poll, but I want to say this before we get into it. If the main thing is that DD7 requires gear tier 19, DD8 does not. It's just purple ISO 3. I've already finished Dark Dimension 7. So whatever your plans are for DD7, don't let any of my suggestions or recommendations in today's video interfere with your plans in Dark Dimension 7. Now, a lot of the suggestions and ideas that I'm going to talk about here in a minute may align with that, but definitely don't disrupt your plans to get Mephisto because of this event. Make sense? So the plan is, for me, is I want to get as many points as possible. Like right here, it shows Battle and Raid with Alpha Flight at gear tier 19. My understanding is that if you do it correctly, you can do 1 character. Now, for me, I've done 2 characters on each one of these 4 teams, but I took it to Twitch chat and I asked them the question very simply: which Alpha Flight would you G19 first? And so this is the general community's suggestions on which one to do first. I mean, of course, there's people that have already got Mephisto. They're already done with Dark Dimension 8. They already got Odin, and they're going to have different objectives and different plans. And so there was like certain people that are saying all of them. But if you're just going to do 1, or for like me, I'm going to do 2. The plan is going to be North Star and Sasquatch. Now, keep in mind, I already got Mephisto. So, red gear has been building up. So just everybody's different. So this is just answering the question, which one would you do first? Which is North Star. Then if we look at Hive Mind, it's kind of split right here between Red Goblin and Void Knight. So I did both Red Goblin and Void Knight. I actually had already done Void Knight because I had done Void Knight for Dark Dimension 7. So you can see that I already did. So that's the situation where it aligned up, right, with what I did with Dark Dimension 7. So absolutely. So that is, I think you can go whatever direction you prefer: Red Goblin or Void Knight, whatever one you do. But the poll here on Twitch chat preferred Red Goblin. Next on the list is Extreme. I feel like Nightcrawler is the superstar on the Extreme team. Of course, Old Man Logan, but Old Man Logan is technically not Extreme. So, Nightcrawler is also a character that I'm using in Dark Dimension 8. I also used in Dark Dimension 7. And then from there, it's kind of split between Forge and Gambit. And I already have done Gambit, and I'm considering whether or not I will do Forge. I don't know yet. We'll see. Spider Society. Boy, if there's a team to do most of them, I feel like I've done all of them but Ghost Spider, and then other people have done all of them. This seems to be just like the next Infinity Watch, like the cockroaches of Marvel Strike Force. This team seems so good, and using them not only in Dark Dimension 7, Dark Dimension 8 has been amazing, and there's still a 3 game mode team. But which one are you going to do first? Peter B was the general consensus, followed by Penny and then Pav. But like I said, I've already did like 4 of them. All right. And so there's also something else going on right now before we get into the Battleworld and the Astral team is the Fang for your buck. So this is spending money. So this is a supplemental bang for your buck, but it's called Fang for your buck. And people's like, well, how do you get points for this? Spending money. So if and when I spend money on the game, it's done on the web store. because this only works on the web store. You're not going to get credit if you use your Google Play or Apple iTunes. It's got to be on the web store. It goes through Xsola. But I buy my Ultra Cores there. And then when the Ultra Cores, then I can either purchase on the website or in-game. Works the same. But I think I got 50 awakened ability mats for Blades basic, I think, if I remember correctly, which is not super important. I have to go back and look, but there is something. Maybe somebody in chat will correct me before I end the video. But let's move on. Let's talk about Battleworld and the Astral team. So we've got this Battleworld. This is similar to that they've had other events, like there's a Professor X, whatever you like that. But something that I noticed, it was the basic 50 of the Blade basic awakened ability, which is probably the least important one for Blade because it's just extra crit damage. It's not a big deal. But right here, and we're going to go over this post, but I want to talk about the Astral team first. Like it says zone 1 here, select a message, city, and these are the requirements for the nodes. And it's city, cosmic, Spider-Verse, cosmic, Astral, or Pegasus. What is that? So it doesn't look like there's an official Astral team because I did some hunting around, and here's the blow up of it right here, Astral. There's some general consensus that's coming across. There won't be any team that you can look for called Astral or anything. It's going to be some amalgam of psychic characters. And almost everything that I Googled about Marvel and Astral led to Shadow King. And so one of the things that was speculated here on Twitch and chat is that maybe there's going to be an Astral team that fights against Shadow King. Like if you read the stories correctly, I mean, they've kind of hinted at a character that Shadow King would fill into the narrative of the storylines that have been in game. There's been data mines as well. So that kind of makes sense that it's going to be some amalgam of psychic characters. There was a Reddit post, so this is nothing official. They were talking about the Astral Avengers, so that's going to be like Doctor Strange, Moondragon. They're just throwing names out here. Magic, Mirage, Moondrag, Mantis, Chamber, and Legion. Other people say Karma, is like all these different things. But it's also the Shadow King seems to be tied to the astral plane in a lot of the searches. So that was shown on the website. Now I did a full version of this video earlier today, so some of this information, that's why I'm doing it last in the video. Some of this information, not all of it, was in the video from earlier this morning. Siege on Battleworld, take on one of the biggest threats of strike yet on Battleworld. The makeshift planet is home to some of the most dangerous forces in all of Marvel, and commanders level 75, which is super easy to get to, a couple months maybe, and above will need their entire alliance to conquer it, battle through new mission types in a 6-day siege for a chance to challenge the territory boss on the final day. Assemble your most powerful and versatile teams, as each day on Battleworld provides a new challenge and a new way to utilize your characters. And if you've played Galaxy of Heroes and Territory Battles, a lot of people say that even the UI looks similar. I'm sure it's going to be different in some different ways, but I think a lot of people that play Marvel Strike Force have come from Galaxy of Heroes. So a lot of these things might look familiar. And from the way that I see it, the Spec Ops is where you, I think it was called Platoons. Maybe somebody correct me. It's been a long time since I played Galaxy of Heroes, where you load up a character where there was some description of this in the video from this morning. Then there's also shows the Abyss, and then it shows Null. I think there's another screenshot down below that shows a difficulty slider. And then this is going to be over a 6 days. And then the final day is going to have Null, which I guess is going to be like the boss of the whole thing. So, so I believe this Spec Ops is going to be similar to that of Platoon missions if you play Galaxy of Heroes. Defeat Null, and from what it says here, Null is going to be a playable character. God of the Abyss. Battleworld has been divided up into a number of territories. Looks like there's 6. Each more perilous than the first. Your first stop is the Abyss, where you will challenge a sinister and superpowered version of the King in Black, Null. While in their territory, bosses gain additional bonuses, immunities that you and your allies will need to strategize around. Cool. You can also expect an army of symbiotes to come to Null's aid, making for one of the toughest fights Strike has ever seen to date. Kind of interesting. It'll take your entire alliance to take down Null, but doing so will eventually allow you to recruit him to your cause and strengthen your roster with darkness. Darkness. I don't know. It's funny. Earn purple ISO now for your entire alliance. Now, the requirement for DD9 is purple ISO 3. So, but the problem is that there's an event that is ending in 8 days, and that gives out the red stars for Odin. So I am scrambling, and I'm think I'm 2 characters short, but I'm scrambling to get through my first run because I want to get a 7 red Odin. And I'm sure this will come out after that in some way. Earn piles of ISO 8. Thanks. And we don't know how we're going to get DD8. Nothing. DD8. We're talking about DD8, not DD9. Whatever I said. Okay. We're talking about DD8. We're talking about purple ISO and DD8, not DD9. Nothing about DD9. Okay. Earn piles of ISO 8 resources each day in elite missions. Each wave of your alliance clears on the special missions and will be reward additional purple ISO resource for your entire alliance at the end of each day. Improve your chances of bringing home rewards by utilizing teams who specialize in Battleworld. Higher difficulties will always reward larger and higher tiers of ISO 8. So strategize with your alliance to maximize your rewards. Each territory will only run for a limited time. So always be on the lookout for the new territory bosses and, of course, new rewards to grow your roster. So I imagine it's going to change in territory battles in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. It definitely rewarded wider rosters and veteran rosters. So we'll have to see how it plays out in Marvel Strike Force. But then we've got Null's throne, and there is a picture of Null. Something else I saw right here, if you look above, a 14 million TCP Null. Holy moly. Is this his health pool? What is that? 500 million health pool on this shot here. Oh boy. Oh boy. We'll have to see how that plays out. Then we've got the various difficulty selectors. Looks like it's 1 through 5. And then you can see the various rewards. And yes, there is some access there to purple ISO. And that is it. Let me know what you think about all of this. And as always, thanks for watching. Keep on gaming. Bye for now.